Hello and welcome to the paddock here in Bahrain. My name's Alexa Rendell. I'm joined by WEC's very own Anthony Davidson, and it's time to talk about everything that happened in this absolutely incredible 2024 WEC season. Our way of reviewing the season, we decided rather than going through it race by race, we've got a lot to talk about. We'd be here a while. So we're having our very own WEC yearbook. That's what I'm calling it. We're going to go through, choose some categories, and I'm sure you guys in the comment section will let us know, undoubtedly, whether or not you agree with us and that we've made some terrible decisions and opinions along the way. But to start us off, we've got to start with, what do you think was the best race of the year, Ant?
I know it because it's so fresh in my mind. It's easy to say this race, but it really was. Bahrain, it just, for me, the level of competition was so strong. This track always serves up great racing, great overtaking opportunities. You've got massive tyre wear with this old surface that's over 20 years old now, and it rips through the tyres, and that always creates drama and differences of strategy. And we had all of that aplenty yesterday. So for me, yesterday's race had, top dogs like Car 7 retiring. The Toyota car number 7, who would have thought it, pushed back into the garage when they were on their way to winning the Drivers' World Championship at one point. They had this hesitation from nowhere, the fuel pump issue that was the problem. And then car number 8 spun around in the lead, working their way back through. Didn't look for a second they were going to win the race. It looked like it was going to be Ferrari's day with the car 51. They'd never won as the Works team. And I couldn't believe this stat, still can't. Never won a World Endurance Championship race. Yeah. They've won Le Mans, but never a race. So they looked like they were set to redeem themselves there. Didn't happen. And there, like we mentioned, Porsche number 6. What a topsy-turvy race for them. And it was so unpredictable. I think that's what made it the best race of the season.
I'm going to counter you there, though, because we mentioned number 7 having a pretty torrid day yesterday. I'm thinking back to their glory day back in Imola.
Yeah.
That was a great race. When the rain came in, who stayed on slicks, who went on to wets. That variation was wild.
It was, and that's another day that really got away from Ferrari, in my opinion. It was potentially the wrong call on tyres, but who knew what the weather was going to do that day? You're right. What we like from this sport is unpredictability. Yeah. We like to throw all the balls up in the air and see how they fall. We don't want to know who's going to win going into the race, and it happens. And that's, Imola was up there as well. I'll give you that one. I'm still standing with Bahrain.
We'll agree to disagree.
Exactly.
There might be a bit of this today, Ant.
That's what opinions are all about. We've all got one.
Well then, Ant, how about we move on to the best team of the year?
So best team of the year, what? Hypercar? Should we start with them?
Good shout.
So Hypercar, best team. I think, thinking on the spot, it's got to be Hertz Team Jota.
Ooh, go on.
Yeah, I know, because for me what happened to them in Le Mans was it really showcased what the team are made of. With Callum Ilott crashing the car in one of the free practice sessions, they had to build up a spare tub from scratch with 1 or 2 days to spare, shake it down on the runway. They were given special permission to shake the car down before going into the race itself. And for me, building a tub up from scratch is unheard of before Le Mans. The team must have been absolutely shattered. Callum felt obviously awful, but redeemed himself by getting into the car, scoring points in that race. Like I say, in a chassis that was built, just rolled in from Porsche.
Finishing alone was an accomplishment.
Just even finish it, like you say, was like a superhuman effort. But they came away from it scoring points, and of course that was off the back of their victory in Spa, which again was another standout performance of the season. And they were always there, keeping the Works team honest.
I like the way you put that. And actually, you can probably comment on this a little bit more than me, but I also do want to mention Toyota, because this is the first year in my mind that they've had that real serious competition in a very long time. Well, not too long, but certainly in a few years. And they've had to fight a lot harder than they ever have before. And seeing the way they've been so resilient, bouncing back, even after the number 7 didn't finish yesterday, the garage was so respectful. Everybody immediately went to clean the car, spoke with each other very calmly, gently. I really respect that within a racing team, that kind of attitude.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, Toyota, they showed what they were made of in yesterday's race, and actually all the way through the season. People thought that they could only win by having no competition. Well, this is the most competitive, with 9 manufacturers competing in WEC now in Hypercar, the most competitive it's ever been, without question. And they've won again. So, you know, that we can put that one to bed surely now. They can win with competition. Let's stop saying that. And also, you know, the way the team reacted, you're right. After that really disappointing retirement from Car 7 in terms of a drivers' championship, the team pulled together. Kamui was straight there out of the car as team principal, helping Car 8 as best as he could to make sure that they could walk away with something from this season. And, well, what an achievement. World champions once again for Toyota Gazoo Racing. I loved watching them operate this season. Reliability wasn't always on their side. That's something they're going to have to work on for next year. But when the chips were down, you saw them at their best.
Well, how about we do LMGT3? Because I'm fairly sure we're going to agree on this one, because there's been one team with an absolutely outstanding year.
Go on then.
Manthey Pure Racing. Actually,
Agreed.
no, Manthey generally, I should say.
Manthey generally, yes. Yeah, really strong, formidable team. You know, always at the sharp end. Led the championship from word go in LMGT3, and they were the ones to beat. Obviously carrying success ballast as well from having led the championship right from the beginning. That extra 15 kilos that gets put on your car after that, and they were still up there. They won the championship with the race to spare. You know, they were untouched. That's what you call domination.
It was super cool when you walked through the pit lane and you saw on their fuel rigs, one saying 2024 World Champions and the other saying 2024 Le Mans winners. Ain't half bad, is it?
Says it all. Yeah, that says it all. I didn't actually know that. I wasn't aware of that, but
cool.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Well, how about we do Driver of the Year? And we'll do it the other way around this time. Let's start with LMGT3. Who really impressed you? Not necessarily the most successful, but somebody that you think performed well this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'll always go for the bronze drivers every time in LMGT3, because that's what the category is all about. A lot of these teams are here today, still on the rookie test day. They're here. They exist because of the bronze drivers, bringing the money and their enthusiasm and the desire to have a high-quality racing team, providing them with a racing car to go and compete with. So I always tend to lean more towards them, and for me there was one standout this season. It was Alex Malikin, who I felt, in terms of the bronze drivers, really he showed them the way, and he was super clean all season. Always had the speed in qualifying, despite, like I say, the success ballast that came their way, a victim of their own success. But he didn't let that topple him at any point in the championship. And yeah, what can I say? For me, he was the driver that really deserved it.
You're right on the bronzes, actually, the likes of Darren Leung, Ian James, very impressive. But actually, as we were talking, one that came to mind for me is a silver, and that's Maurice Schuring from the number 92, the number 91, the one Le Mans. Because as a silver driver, he's been up there in the Goodyear Wingfoot Award all season long, the second youngest Le Mans winner, and he's moved through the ranks in sports car racing so quickly. To be entering into his first season in WEC and doing as he has, really impressive.
Definitely one to watch for the future. And you know, it's great that having now just the two categories. Of course, I miss LMP2, but having just the two categories, LMGT3 and Hypercar, you can give it more of your attention, and it's really nice to see these younger drivers, stars of the future, coming up and using the LMGT3 platform to showcase what they have.
And I think we have to do best pole lap, because there have been some mighty good qualifying sessions this year. Best
pole lap, well, the one that really stands out for me, I don't know if it was kind of a clinical lap and the best in terms of like speed, but just for pure enjoyment, was Kevin Estre in Le Mans.
What that whole qualifying session as well, the drama that brought.
Well, we had Bourdais. Do you remember Sebastian Bourdais? His home race, he felt like, well, not so much him, the whole team, and especially all the media, they were hanging around the team. They were ready to snap away with minutes to spare. They thought job was done, and out of nowhere came this flying red and white Porsche Penske car with hanging the back out everywhere, Kevin Estre. And I thought, just to look at, if there was no lap time on the board there, no rolling lap time, I would have thought, nah, tyres are gone, no way this guy's going to be on pole. And crosses the line and bang, pole position. That was, it was a real buzz in the paddock, and suddenly you saw all the media flock down, leg it down to the Porsche team.
Yeah, I was one of those actually. I remember that, yeah.
They're brilliant stuff.
Well, how about also Brendan's lap this weekend? We spoke about how great that race was, but that extra point for Toyota did in fact turn out to be vital in securing them the Manufacturers' World Championship. And what a lap it was!
Obviously those points accumulate over the course of a season, so every single time that either a Porsche or a Toyota was in pole position, it boiled down to the championship, how it unfolded. But Brendan's lap yesterday, 2 days ago was really something special. We've seen some great qualifying performances from Brendan in the past, and in qualifying Hyperpole was one of his best, I think. So that definitely aided their chances for Toyota to wrap up this championship.
And actually, as you can probably hear, we've got the rookie test going on today. It's always a brilliant day because we get to see the talent of the future, drivers trying out new cars. But that does remind me, as our final category, I want to do like a revelation of the year, someone who's really come into their own this season, be it a new driver or someone who's just made that step up.
So speaking of drivers that really impressed and have really elevated themselves from previous years, either in the WEC or Formula's other categories, for me it was Julian Andlauer. In the privately entered Proton 99 Porsche, he did some standout performances this year. Spa, his qualifying there, exemplary. The start of the race he put in there as well. He was always at the sharp end, fighting it out. Qatar, right from word go, up there as well. Obviously some great teammates alongside him, but yeah, he pulled out some performances that we didn't expect this year from that car. And with all due respect, it's not the Works team, and he was up there with the Jotas, like I said before, keeping the Works team honest. So for me, he was one of those drivers. Every time he was in the car, more often than not, you saw fireworks.
And actually, I'm going to be really cheeky. I picked a couple. For me, Gounon, really impressive this year, making the step up to the Alpine from just a GT3 background, and at very short notice, stepping in for Ferdy Habsburg earlier this year. Yeah,
so him as a driver, but also you mentioned Alpine as a team, a standout team that really showed great progress all season long was Alpine. Obviously, Le Mans went against them. They had the engine failures there, a very public affair for them, but they quickly rectified that problem. And they've been solid through to the end of the season, really making progress every single race. Held on to the fastest lap here, by the way, for quite some time, until it was bettered only in Buemi's final stint.
He was on one though, he was going to take that.
To be fair, if anyone's going to rob fastest lap from you, it was going to be him. We'll give him that one.
Yeah, and actually the other one I wanted to bring up, because I spoke to both Jules and Michelle, we'll talk more about it in a second, but Michelle Gatting making that step up from being the Iron Dames' silver driver to now being their gold driver. She was battling with the best of them this year. Even that battle yesterday with Alex Riberas was very, very impressive.
It's funny, it is impressive, but now it's funny. I just see her as one of the other drivers out there, and she more than holds her own with the level of competence, and what a high caliber of driver there is out there. We saw those battles with Rivera and Charlie Eastwood yesterday, really fighting it out, and she's in amongst them. But for me, it's just she's just one of them now, and she could be a platinum for all I care. The way she drives. And elbows out, gets stuck in with all the rest. It's just like watching another one of the pro drivers out there, in all honesty.
I'm excited to see the future of the Iron Dames program. There's a few teasers coming from today's rookie test, and I'm thoroughly intrigued to see what happens next.
Go on.
Well, which car are they testing in?
Well, I don't know.
They're in the Manthey. They're not in the Lamborghini.
Of course, you're right.
They're
yes.
in the Porsche.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, it's another car for me to get my head around.
Consider me intrigued. I'll say that much. Thank you for joining us, Anne. And actually, over the last couple of days, I've been speaking to drivers up and down the grid who've had a real variety of seasons. We're talking Will Stevens, Jules Gounon, and Michelle Gatting, and you should really take a listen and see what they had to say. Will, thank you so much for sitting down with me, because I know you've had, quite the day. It's been, as your whole season has, one of ups and downs. I'm sure this is kind of one to maybe push to the side at the end of it all.
Looking back at the year, we could have said that about a lot of races. So it's just frustrating, I think as a team, I think that's normally what we do very well at. If you look back at 2022 and we won the LMP2 title, we were the ones who were super consistent, didn't make mistakes. This year's been the opposite of that, so I think it's just something to learn from. As a team, come back better, get rid of the mistakes, keep the pace where we know it is, and hopefully we can do a lot better.
And if we were to look at your year as a whole, Will, maybe we start with the high. It's nice to talk about that, which I can probably guess what it is. Spa?
Yeah, I think Spa for sure. You know, Spa I think is one where we won. And I think for the team, for us as drivers, getting that first win in the top category, first win as a privateer with us as Porsche, was very special. Obviously, strategy-wise, we were lucky with what happened, but I think you create your own luck in that situation. And I think people forget that we actually beat the number 6 on pace at that race. But coming to this race, what makes it frustrating is I think we were in for a chance of winning this one. And to win it without a strategy, people thinking we won because of strategy and this kind of stuff, I think we would have proved again that we can still win these races regardless of what happens with that. So super special for everyone, Spa. So that would say was probably the peak of our year.
And certainly not a peak, but I think the biggest show of resilience and perhaps what Jota kind of stands for was Le Mans. And the storyline that you guys went through and the testing on the airfield to then actually ultimately finishing the race and finishing quite well.
Yeah, I think
unbelievably impressive. I
think Le Mans, especially coming from Spa, and just the whole build-up, we felt good the way it happened. It was, you know, for Callum, it wasn't even a crash where he was pushing super hard. It was just one of those things that would happen once in a 1,000 times of going through that corner. So I also felt for him it was just an unlucky situation, and obviously he felt bad for it, and it was a big setback, there's no question about it. Going into the race with a brand new car, you don't know what you're going to end up with. So we definitely weren't as strong as we should have been at Le Mans, but in those kind of situations you have to do the best of what you have, and I felt we did that. Even in a situation we knew we were slightly on the back foot, so just to get to the race, still be on the lead lap, no mistakes. I think that is what's frustrating, is that's what we do as a team, and that's what they've always done, and I think that's why they've always been so successful. But like this year, some of the races not going our way is what's frustrating, because normally that's our good point.
I mean, I see it all the time from your team, that sort of friendliness and bond that they have, but particularly Le Mans was the first time I ever saw it exemplified like that, where it was 2-3 days where they basically just didn't sleep. And I don't know if it's the fact that you've been together for so long that builds that relationship, but now you're looking ahead to next year, the switch to Cadillac. I feel like that's going to be a positive partnership from what I can see. Yeah,
I think, I feel proud of for myself being part of Jota is since 2016 I've basically been racing with them, on and off, and then fully since 2022. So I've always been in and around Jota the whole time. So as drivers, we try and transition through the categories. We all knew Hypercar was coming, transitioning to a privateer team, and obviously the team now moving on to being a factory program with Cadillac. It's just really nice to be on that journey with them. And I think the great thing about Jota is it's basically the same core group of people that's been with them the whole time. Like my engineer, my first win at Sebring was back in 2018, I think it was. He's still my engineer now, and he knows me super well. We're completely honest with each other, and that's the way I love working, and that's what this team also encourage drivers to be open, honest, and wear your heart on your sleeve, and that's how I am as a person. And I think that's why I fit in so well here, and yeah, just happy to be a part of it. And the fact they've got Cadillac coming on a factory program, it's actually what they deserve, to be mixing it with everybody, and that's what they've been working towards, and it's cool to have been a part of that transition.
Exciting times ahead. Thank you, Will.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Michelle, congratulations on what was ultimately almost a full season in the WEC. How did you find it stepping up from GT3 racing now to the top class in Hypercar with a team like Alpine?
Yeah, well, obviously you never want to go into Hypercar when you are replacing somebody that got injured, especially Ferdinand, that is such a nice guy. You don't want him to get hurt, but obviously, yeah, I had the chance to step up and fulfill my reserve driver role, which was something pretty nice, thanks to my other manufacturer AMG and Alpine to work together also to give me that chance. And as you said, it nearly ended up doing a full season with 4 races in total, competing in Imola, Spa, Fuji, and here in Bahrain, finishing with P4 here. So it was great to start here, and I hope I can taste a bit more in the future.
And how has the WEC treated you? How have you found it in terms of competition depth and just how challenging some of these races are?
Yeah, it's the World Championship. You know, you have the best driver in the world with the best manufacturer and the best team, so it's pretty much the top of the top that you can get here. Obviously, there's a lot of those drivers that I compete against in GT, and that's also very cool to see that those days with Hypercar, they've been given a lot of chances to guys from GT to step up, and that's a pretty nice thing for me as I come from GT. And yeah, WEC is simply fantastic.
And Gounon, out of all of the races you've done this year, the moments you've had, what's been the highlight of your season?
I would say for sure your first stint ever in the WEC in Imola. I've been called on Wednesday to be there on Thursday, coming a bit unexpected, and doing your first stint, following some guys and so on that you have been looking for a long time, like Buemi and so on. It's always a small moment as a young driver, even if I start to look older. But and then maybe the worst moment I would say is when you have to double stint old tires to save some new tires for the end of the race, because that's a painful moment, but you know that you take it for the team, and that's part of endurance. Sometimes you need to sacrifice to give the chance at the end, strategy-wise, to try to win. That's what we did yesterday, actually.
And do you think that's actually what the most challenging part of stepping up to the top class has been, learning to work as a team like that and taking one for the team when you have to?
Yeah, for sure. In GT, you know everyone because there is maybe 5 guys per car. In this team, we are over 50. So the first few races, I used to say hi to twice to the same person and apologize because you see so many people. But yeah, it feels like Formula One of endurance, to be honest. Everything is so high level. The strategy, the parameter that you have in the car and so on is very complex. And it feels amazing to be there. So I hope I can stay.
And obviously the team ended up finishing P4 in the manufacturers, P4 in yesterday's race. You're a part of both. Must be really, really proud for you to be involved in that. What are your hopes going forward now for the team and your own career in endurance racing?
I think the team can be very proud of the work they have done. They stepped up in a category with a lot of brand that knows it for many years, especially, for example, BMW. They're also stepping up, but obviously they have 2 years of experience in the back compared to them. So to arrive and make such a bang starting on a 4th place of the manufacturer championship, I think it's very remarkable for them. Of course, it will set up the expectation higher for next year, which is an extra pressure, but the team is working so hard. They're already working today on 2025 with different setup we are trying and so on, new parameters. So I think they will continue to improve, and as I told you, I really hope I can continue with them.
Well, actually, I spoke to Will Stevens yesterday about what makes, from his perspective, Jota so efficient as a customer team and why they won the Hypercar World Cup. For you, Alpine being one of the best of the rest this year, one of the newcomers, what is it in your perspective that makes Alpine so strong as a team?
I think the big advantage of Alpine is that it's a very nice mix between Signatech, that have a lot of experience of LMP2 over the last 10 years or more, with F3 in the past and so on. So it's a very well-proven team, combined with the team members from Alpine coming directly from F1, from Formula E, from different categories, and they mixed up a really nice bunch of guys that can work very well together. And at the end, this mix of competence coming from different championships, different complexity of cars, I think made such a step this year and will continue for the future.
Thank you so much, Jules. Enjoy your summer break. Well, winter break.
Thank you very
Cheers.
much. See you.
Michelle, thank you so much for joining us. We're here on Rookie Test Day, and it's sort of an opportunity to reflect on the season gone by. You've had ups and downs, certainly for sure. How do you feel now looking back on it as a whole?
Yeah, it's definitely been one of the most challenging seasons, I would say, for the Iron Dames. There's been a lot that we as drivers have not been in control of, and I think that's the worst thing. Because somehow it's always easy if you can just blame it on the driver, saying they did mistakes, they did this, but actually it was the car that was a little bit unfair to us. So it has been tough because we really wanted to prove something, and I think as a lineup we really had chances to do something good, especially after last year in WEC and so on with the RSR. We just got so much confidence. But yeah, a tough season, and so far probably the toughest we have had as the Iron Dames.
Can you pull any positive moments from this year, perhaps a highlight for you?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, Spa was really nice. We had so much pace, and it was really looking like it could be something good, at least the podium, which it didn't came out as in the end. That was like the car was so nice to drive, and we were like, whoa, it's finally it's giving us something. But unfortunately, the result didn't really show that. But at least we felt that there were some possibilities with the car. Sao Paulo as well. I mean, again, we were there, and it was smelling like a podium until the car gave up again. So I mean, there has been times where the car is really showing great potential. But then luck has just not been on our side. So, I mean, I would say Spa and Sao Paulo, it was too good. And then this round, again, we were there. It also smelled like a podium again. But we know in those races, it can smell like a podium until the very last lap, and then it's not a podium anymore. But yeah, there's been some good moments and bad.
I remember in particular seeing you at Spa and like that emotion after everything happened. And how has that been this year from a personal development point of view, where you've had to have so much resilience to get through this season?
I think it's been a super important year because, I mean, like you say, we as drivers, we have had to find a way to get through it. And we have great people around us to support in terms of the mental aspect, because in those situations, I believe that it's more on the mental side, that you need to find a way to get through it, to get over it, to leave it behind you and then move on to the next race. And I would say in the past, I would not have managed that very well. I would have stuck in the moment, and I would have been angry about it for long. But here I really felt like we all developed as drivers, and we found ways to just leave it behind us, get over it, and then move on. And it's been a very developing year also as drivers.
Well, actually, I did want to touch on that because you announced very recently about Sarah making the step up to being a silver, trying out new drivers in the car with the rookie test today. You yourself are trying out the Manthey team today in the rookie test. You always talk about the Women Driven by Dream slogan you're literally wearing at the moment. It must be so nice to see these dreams that you've spoken about for so long coming to fruition and making steps forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the project is growing and growing year by year, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. I can almost not even follow myself sometimes because, like, whoa, we're doing this and that. But this is exactly what we would like with the project. A lot of people expected that the day Sarah would be upgraded to silver, that we would just say, no, we don't want her anymore. And we wanted to prove that this is exactly not how we are as a project and as a team. You know, Sarah has developed a lot over the years, and now she is the silver graded driver, which she deserves. You know, it's been a progress, and she's done amazing, and now she's ready for the new challenge, which is as a silver. And we have been aware that this was coming along the way, and therefore we prepared our next bronze, which is going to be Celia. And she has a new challenge to look forward to. I mean, it's big shoes to fill from Sarah. But again, it's not a pressure we want to put on Celia. We have seen that progress takes time. It took time for all of us, and it's going to do that as well for Celia. But I also just believe that the motivation that we all have, and again, the people that are around us, is just helping us so much to arrive and be in shape and be ready. And yeah, here we are today. We're doing the rookie test, and it's just, I mean, Celia has just been in the car, and she's just done super good. I mean, she doesn't know the track. It's a new track for her. It's a new car. And she just shows that she's ready for the challenge, which is exactly what we want. We want to prepare the next drivers as much as possible. And I think we are doing that pretty well.
It's really great to hear she's settling in well. But one last question for you. We've reflected on the year gone. What's the dream for next year?
Oh, there's a lot of dreams. The list is long.
We might be here a while, basically.
You know, I would still really like to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans. You know, so that's kind of that's on top of the list. But no, I think just doing a good result altogether, putting it out there and say we have to win championships and stuff. It's big words to say, because I mean, this is LMGT3 in the World Endurance Championship. The level is extremely high. We are arriving next year. We have a different lineup. So you know, it's new, but we have to respect the competition. That's what I always say. I respect my competitors very much. I know they are very tough out there, but some podiums, maybe some race wins, and then a good result in the championship would be very important. And I mean, Le Mans, the win at Le Mans, we're still missing that one.
It's coming, it's coming. And actually, one thing you just reminded me of there that I'm really curious about. Who have you enjoyed fighting with on track this year?
Well, I mean, I always somehow seem to be fighting with Aston Martins. Like, it doesn't have to be certain drivers, but just the car in general. Yesterday I had a super fun fight with Alex Riberas. That was amazing. You know, Alex and I, we know each other from go-kart days, and I knew that he was not going to make it easy for me to pass. So that was quite nice. But I mean, no, I had fun with different cars on track, and this is what's so nice about this championship, is that you're not always fighting with the same car. You know, the BOP makes it so different that everybody has a chance against each other. So it's always different cars. But of course there are certain drivers that you want to beat, and you want to show. But I cannot point out a specific driver, but I would say in general with WEC and ELMS it always ends up with Aston Martins.
Those damn Astons.
These damn Astons. But I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and enjoy your summer break.
Thank you.
Winter break.
Winter break. And thank you for all the nice commentary you've done.
Thank you to each of those drivers for taking the time to join us at the end of an incredibly busy but incredibly dramatic season. We really, really appreciate it. And of course, a huge congratulations to each of our champions, all so thoroughly well deserved. Now we can start looking ahead to 2025, which actually is not that far away. We'll be bringing you all of the silly season news and team updates across the WEC social media. And all that's left for me to say is see you in Qatar.